This is episode 68, and we have a really sweet Valentine's Day treat for you. This 1979 Plymouth Volare station wagon has got to be the cleanest, completely original Survivor we've ever seen in all our years in this car hobby. From the incredible paint and interior down to the still original belts. You'll see she isn't just pretty, she runs like a champ too. Just listen to her current caretaker, Dennis Carey, as he tells you the story. Now, let's go for a ride.
Well, my name is Dennis Carey, and I live here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I've been an avid car buff, well, since I was 15 years old, I guess. And I'm now 74, so that'll give you some idea how long it's been. Grew up in Detroit, the car capital of the world, and moved here to Arizona so that I could actually collect some cars. And this particular car that I have here is a 79 Plymouth Volare wagon. So people think about these 79 Volare wagons or whatever and say, geez, nobody ever restores these. And I go, nope, this car has not been restored. What you're looking at is an all-original, unrestored 1979 Volare Premier Wagon Survivor. Everything is completely original. I mean, from the paint to the interior to under the hood to the fan belts and all the hoses. They're all original. So I've had this car. I bought it in December of 07, and it was kind of an unusual how I got it and acquired it, as I was looking for a 66 or 67 Plymouth Belvedere, so to go along with my Plymouth GTXs that I own. I couldn't find any, and I was surfing eBay, and I pulled up Plymouth, and then, of course, they listed every Plymouth from new to old on the site. And I'm scrolling down, I see this 79 Volare wagon under new cars. How the hell can that be? I'm sorry, how can that be? It's a 79. So I wound up calling the guy in Ohio, and the first words out of his mouth after I said, why is it listed under new cars? He goes, because it is a new car. And I go, what do you mean it's a new car? He goes, well, it only has 4,500 miles on it. And I go, 4,500? How do you know that? He says, well, my dad is the original owner on the car. He passed away about 10 years ago, and I didn't have the heart to sell the car, so I stored it in my garage, which I have a heated garage, and I have a couple other cars. And I just couldn't part with it at that time. He says, but now I think it's time to move on, and I want to sell it. I go, okay, well, I guess that makes sense, but really, 4,500 miles? He goes, yeah. I said, well, could you, send me some photos of it. Let me take a look at it. Sure, let me get more photos, because he didn't have a whole lot of photos on it. He just had some basic ones. So he sent me a whole bunch more. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, everything on the car looked completely new. And I'm scratching my head thinking, damn, this could be really almost a new car. So, getting talking with him for a while, I find out that his dad had ordered the car, and his mom and dad occasionally would take it grocery shopping. But if it got cloudy, they'd come home. He would not leave the car out in the rain. He would not drive it in the rain. He wouldn't drive it in snow. He wouldn't drive it in any inclement weather whatsoever. So this car never saw rain. Never saw rain from 1979 to 2007 when I purchased it. And when I was shipping it, it was one of those days in Phoenix that you rarely ever get. It was cloudy and it rained in the morning, and it looked like it was going to rain again. Well, the transporter gets here with the car, and he says to me, Dennis, I have to get this car off and get it in your garage. I go, what's the problem? He goes, well, if it rains even a drop, I can't deliver it. I said, what? He goes, yeah. He says, the owner gave me explicit instructions. If it's raining, you may not take that car off the trailer. I said, wow. Okay, well, hey, let's get it in the garage. I don't want I want the car here at the house. So, to make a long story short, we got that car in the garage, and it hadn't seen rain ever. And even all the years that I've owned it, 13 years, it did see rain when we were parked at a Route 66 cruise. It came out of Massillon, Ohio, and that's probably a good thing when you think about it today, because being in Arizona versus Ohio, the interiors usually get pretty crappy here in Arizona, kind of dry rotted and stuff. Where there, it's perfect. Usually the paint can be, or they get rusty, but this one didn't. His father had the hindsight to Z-Bart the car, or Cosmoline it, whatever you want to call it. So it protected it against any rust, any corrosion, even when it was sitting in a garage. So and of course here in Arizona it will never see rust. And today, after 14 years now of owning the car, we just turned 11,000 miles on it. So I did put 7,000 miles on, over those years, which doesn't sound like a lot, but mostly they were to and from car shows or going and cruising Route 66 when they had their show up there once a year. The only thing I've ever done with the car, because it is, as you see it in these photos, it's the way it looks when I got it and the way it looks today. The only thing I did change is I changed the original tires and wheels, which were a chrome with wire baskets and white wall tires. I still kept those, and I put the Magnum 500 with white letter tires on it. I thought that made it look a little sportier. But that's all I've ever done. I've never changed a fan belt or a hose or nothing like that. It's got air conditioning. The only thing it doesn't have out of all the options the father got is it didn't get power windows. And one can only surmise why he didn't get power windows. I have no idea. But he got everything else under the sun, including cruise tilt and everything else in the car. But it's one of those cars, I think, that that you once in a lifetime you'll find that you could find something like that, where someone truly took care of the car, put it away, maintained it. He changed the oil in that thing every year, even though it sat in his garage. He still changed the oil and would start it every 2 or 3 months just to make sure that the gas was good. It's still got the original muffler system on it. So this one has what they refer to as the Big Six. Now the Super Six. The Super Six is actually a 2-barrel, 225 cubic inch slant six, putting out right around 200 horsepower. The regular six was a single barrel, but if you got the Super Six, you got a 2-barrel. The car still, even to this day, will get 21, 22 miles to the gallon. So, not that you ever own these cars because you worry about what the gas is going to cost. Because if you did, you wouldn't own any of them. But this one still gets incredible mileage, runs and drives perfect. Oh, as it should, I guess, for 11,000 miles. So, it's a real neat, fun car. It gets a lot of looks at a car show. If I drive 2 cars out, this one could be a Hemi car, and the other one could be this. They'll look at this one first. All I plan on doing it, the wife and I plan on just driving it, enjoying it, and keeping it for probably have to hand it down to one of my granddaughters who are going to take one of our cars, I'm sure, when we're no longer here. And they're always fighting over this wagon because they all like the wagon. And I don't know what makes young people today like wagons, but they do, and gotta love them for it. They've been attending car shows with us for 20-some years. So I have all the original window stickers on this car, all the original paperwork. I believe I even have the bill of sale from when the person, so I'm being the second owner on the car, when the original owner bought it, all the paperwork from day one, all the things they didn't do a whole lot to it. It only had 4,500 miles on it, so they didn't get a chance to change the oil very often. In fact, I think they may have changed it once or twice, before the son was changing it yearly, sitting in the garage.
Hello again, YouTube subscribers and friends. We have a real treat for all of you today, particularly if you're a fan of rarely seen Chrysler products, or maybe you just love the opulence of American cars from the mid to late 50s.
There's somewhat of a story behind this, in that in 2017, I decided after turning 71 years old that I was going to sell a couple of my cars off. But I always had this passion to get a fin car. You know, people say, well, why would you want a fin car? You got muscle cars. Yeah, you grow up in the 50s and you see these cars and you say, God, I'd love to have one of those one day. Well, I've had other cars, never a fin car. So I said this was the time to look for one. Well, in the 50s, growing up in Detroit, my father was had worked for Chrysler. He was one of the design team who worked on doing the tail lights and the fins and all the exterior lighting on these cars. So he owned a 56 DeSoto at the time, and it wasn't really much of a car. It was a four-door sedan. I wasn't hep on four-door sedans, especially if you start dating and things like that. You don't be driving around a four-door sedan. But it was one of the things that got me started saying, that darn fins do look good. So anyway, as a kid, one of my buddies had a 57 Fury, and every Friday night we go cruising in that thing, and he'd beat the heck out of that car. But we'd sure get a lot of looks with those fins. So anyway, come for me to start looking for a fin car, my first choices was it was going to be a 57 or 58 something, preferably a Fury. I really wanted a Plymouth Fury. But my second choice was going to be a DeSoto, 57 or 58. Well, if anybody knows about the Furies, they can be very expensive. Ever since that movie Christine came out and so forth, everybody either wants to have a Fury to look like Christine, or those that are the purists will leave it as the original colors, which they wore back then, like an ivory color. I said, I've got to find one of those. Well, I couldn't find one. I probably searched a good 7-8 months religiously trying to find one. And lo and behold, I stumbled across this DeSoto. And what attracted me to it, I guess, was a color combination. This kind of coral look with white, kind of outstanding. And he had it for sale on eBay. And it was one of those things where I go, you know what? That's a pretty nice car. And it wasn't that far away. It was in Texas. So I managed to get a hold of the fellow that owned it, and we talked for a while. And the history on the car is it came out of Iowa, and it had 41,000 miles on it. Well, just under 41,000 when he got it. He was the second owner, and he did 99% or a good 99% of the restoration work on the car. Redid the interior, which is not stock, but it's period. The roll and pleat is kind of period for the 50s cars, you know. And so he did that, kept it, very close to the exterior, the color of the car. Redid all the engine compartment and that, tricked out the trunk. The car had air, which really was a plus for me living in Arizona. The only thing it lacked was it needed some wire wheels and wide whites. It had a skinnier white on it with hubcaps, and I go, that's just not right for that car. That car's got to have those Chrysler wires and wide whites. So that's the first thing I did to it. Did other little touch up under the hood in that to make it really look good when you open the hood all the time. We've just been enjoying the car. Now the engine in this car is the only engine they put in a Firesweep, believe it or not, was a 325 cubic inch poly motor, which is the polyspherical head, was a prelude to the actual Hemi. And in the Firesweep, you could only get two options on that poly motor. You get a 2-barrel or a 4-barrel. That was it. Well, this happens to be a 2-barrel. Now, if you stepped up to the Firefly or the Fire Dome, now you had the Hemi options. So I kind of miss, not being able to have a Hemi motor in it, but the fact that this is so unique in the fact you had no options other than the one motor. And this one is the 325 cubic inch, puts out over 200 horsepower, which is more than enough to get you in trouble. And, and they're pretty much bulletproof motors too. You don't really have a lot of problems with these ones. They'll run forever. The car today, I think, has just under 42,000 miles. So everywhere we go, you don't see these DeSotos in it. And if you do, usually they're not completely restored. They're either nice drivers or, just a good get-around car. And a lot of them made then, believe it or not, were four-doors. There was a lot less two-door hardtops made than four-door sedans. So this car was built on a Dodge frame, by the way, too. That's kind of interesting. The DeSoto, the Firesweep, which this is the cheapest model they made, and they built that on a Dodge frame. Where the next step-ups, the Fireflight, Fire Dome, and Adventure are built on a DeSoto frame. So, and DeSoto stayed in business until 1961 when they eliminated it. So even today, as you can see, if you want a big fin car, you're going to you have to find that Plymouth, or you're going to have to look towards the DeSoto, or maybe the Chryslers too. And the Dodge has them also. The Mopar's made most of all big fin cars except for that Chevy 57. What Chevy's claim to fame was for a fin car. But other than that, you're going to have a hard time finding them. There's just not a whole lot of them out there. And I think whoever would really want one of these would never be disappointed. The car runs and drives incredible. It's not one of those where you're going to hot rod it up. You cruise down the street and everybody's looking. I mean, everybody's head's turning every time you pull it out. So we're just going to continue to enjoy this car, take it to the car shows, and maybe park it next to one of my Hemis, and we'll know this one will get more attention than my Hemi car will. So we hope that we'll enjoy this car for many, many years to come.
Hello YouTube family! Today we're bringing you one of the best all-original examples of Mercury's final entry into the performance car arena. It's a 2003 Marauder, and I'll let owner Dennis Carey tell you all about it. Now, let's go for a ride.
Yeah, this is Dennis Carey from Phoenix, Arizona. Today we'll be looking at my Mercury Marauder. Unusual for me to own anything but a Mopar, but this was one of the cars that I've kept now for 6 years and have enjoyed it. Originally I wasn't looking for one. I had owned a 2007 Mercury Grand Marquis LS, which was our daily driver, and it just so happens that over the few years that we owned it, we had a lot of problems with air conditioning. And every year I was putting, I don't know, maybe $1,000 into the AC every year. It wasn't warranted anymore, and I was just getting tired of spending money on it. And a friend of mine who's got a dealership happened to get this Marauder in, and so he called me about it, and I said, well, I don't know much about them, but I know there can't be a whole lot of them. And he goes, nope, they're not. And this is one of the earlier models that they made. I guess it's a 300A, which I had no idea what that meant. But it's one of the first 6,000, I believe, they made. And so I look at it, I said, well, the good thing about it, it's got bucket seats, it's got a console, and it's fast. So I tell the wife, I say, yeah, we'll sell the Grand Marquis and we'll buy this Marauder. Little did I know, though, that it wasn't going to be a daily driver anymore, because what I found out that these cars with fairly low mileage, and this one only had 9,000 when I bought it, hold their value really well if you keep them under a certain mileage. So what was going to be a daily driver turned out to be a not so daily driver. Now over the years, we haven't had to do anything to the car. Of course, when you only put like 6,000 miles on it in 6 years, there probably isn't a whole lot to do to it. But the air has never broke down once. It works perfect. The car runs very well. In fact, just recently I had to put a battery in it for the first time in since I owned it 6 years. But I can tell you that this is a car that, as much as I've driven it, which hasn't been a whole lot, I've enjoyed every mile I put on it. A real quick story. These looks like such a police car. And I was going on the freeway here in Phoenix, and I'm going about, I don't know, maybe 70 miles an hour, and someone's riding on my bumper. And I figured, well, they could just pass me, but they just kept riding and riding. So I looked in the mirror and I waved my finger like, no, no, no. And the person backed off. They must have thought that it was a police car, and they stopped. And they went way over to the right-hand lane and got away from me, thinking that, well, maybe that is an unmarked police car. Anyway, that's pretty much, we're going to keep this car for a while. Most of my cars have been all Mopars. This is the first real performance Ford product that I've had. And for those of you that know anything about the Marauder, I think you'd agree that this was probably one of their nicest full-size cars that they made here in the modern day era.
Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning in again to another episode of If This Car Could Talk. For our 92nd edition to the channel, we're featuring an incredible 1967 Plymouth GTX convertible from the Dennis Carey collection. We've featured a few of Dennis's other cars in previous episodes, and all are very nice. You guys will love this gentleman's hot rod.
Hello, my name is Dennis Carey, and I live here in Phoenix, Arizona, originally from Detroit. And today you're looking at my 1967 Plymouth GTX 440 convertible, of which they made 680 of those convertibles. This particular car actually has a unique story on it. I was at a car show with my Hemi GTX hardtop in 2003. And I'm displaying it at one of the Mopar shows, and this fellow comes up to me, and he goes, "Oh, I really like your GTX. I have one too." And I go, "You do?" "Yeah." He says, "But mine's a convertible." And I said, "Oh." So that piqued my interest immediately. And I said, "So you didn't bring it out?" He goes, No, it needs to be restored." And I go, Okay. He says, "Yeah. I'm going to restore it, and, then I'll bring it out." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I've heard that story before. I'm going to restore it." So he happened to be a architect, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy probably doesn't have a whole lot of time on his hands, but maybe he does. So the next year I go to the show, he comes back again, and I said, "Say, hey, how you doing on that convertible?" "Well, I'm hoping to start it this year." And I go, "Okay." And I'm thinking, there we go. So this goes on, believe it or not, for 4 years. He's always going to restore it. He always comes to see me at the show, but nothing ever happens. Going into the 5th year, he comes to the show, and I said, "So did you start the project this year?" He goes, "Well, I took it apart." I go, "Uh-oh, he took it apart." So now I can imagine, let's see, he took it apart. So if he hasn't worked on it, "Oh, well, I sent it to somebody and they didn't work on it. They just kept it there and it's not done, and I don't know what I'm going to do." And I said, "Well, do you want me to restore it for you?" He goes, "Would you?" And I go, "Yeah, but it won't be cheap, because, I'm going to do it right." And I says, first of all, I said, "I never did ask you, where'd you get this car from?" He goes, "Well, an old man right here in Phoenix owned it." I go, "Really?" "Yeah, he was the first owner." And I go, "So you bought it from the original owner?" "Yes." And he ordered it new from Bill Luke Chrysler Plymouth. I said, "Wow, so it's been an all Arizona car its whole life." He goes, "Yep." "And you're the second owner?" "Yep." "Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I can only give you a ballpark of what I think it might cost to restore it." And of course, this was now 2008. And he says, "Well, I don't know, I'll get back with you." And I'm thinking, "Oh, well, he'll get back with me, but first of all, he won't do it. It won't get done." So about 5 months later, he calls me and says, "Dennis, I lost my job." I go, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." His name was Kevin. I said, "Kevin, I'm so sorry to hear that." He goes, "Do you want to still buy my car?" I go, "Oh, heck yeah." Now, I had not seen this car. Keep in mind, so I had really no idea what condition it's in. But I didn't care, because I figured I'm going to restore it anyway. And so I said, "Sure, I'll buy it." We make arrangements to go to his house to get the car. I get to his house. He opens the garage, and I go, "Oh, shoot. This car is in all kind of pieces. The doors and fenders are inside the car. The top there is no top. It's just a frame." I said, "Where are all the bolts and nuts?" "Oh, they're in those buckets over there." I go, "Oh, so none of it's tagged?" "Nope." I go, "Okay, well, where's the dash?" "Oh, that's in the backyard." And I go, "And the hood?" "Oh, that's next to it in the backyard." So we go in the backyard, and I swear to God, he's got weeds hip high in the backyard. So we got to put the suspension on it to get it in my trailer. So I called my boys and I go, okay guys, let's start putting it together. We pull it out into his driveway, and for the next 7 hours we're putting the suspension together. The one good thing about the car is he had the motor rebuilt by one of the drag racing guys right here in Phoenix, who I had work done from before, and I knew it had to be good because this guy does nothing but good work. In 2010, we started to work on it. No, the end of 2010. And in 19 months, the car was completed, of which 4 months of that took from the body shop guy that I have who painted my car. We put it on a rotisserie so we could do the whole thing top to bottom. And it took him 4 months, which was probably pretty good back in those days too. They didn't have it that long. And it took us 15 months, my son and I, to finish it. And probably this is one of the few that I'll probably keep for as long as I'm around and pass it down. Probably, I'm sure my son will want this one, but because he did so much work on it. The color of this particular car is, and this is original color combination, DD1, light blue metallic, and dark blue metallic seats. The dark blue top was something I decided to put on. It was an option that year, although this car came with a white one. I just didn't think with the blue and that if I made it the dark blue, it would pop a little more, and I think it does. And this is a base coat, clear coat paint on it. So this DD1 color, it's got a lot of metallic in it on the base coat clear. So you can, in the sun, it really looks nice. 440, 375 horse. Standard motor in the GTX was a 440, 375 horse. The only other option you could get was a 426 Hemi. And there are only 17 of those convertibles ever made with a Hemi in it. And I had one of those and sold that. Let's see, this is 2021, so 2017. What really started me off on GTXs, this is my very first car, was the 1967 Plymouth GTX that I ordered brand new in September of '66, 3 months before I married my wife. And this particular car, my father at the time, he was a designer for Chrysler. His team used to design the taillights, or whatever they call exterior lighting back then, so it would be parking lights, tail lights, things like that. And he would always know 3 years in advance what these cars are going to look like. I said, Dad, I'd like to, what's coming up? Do you know anything about any of the other cars coming up? He goes, well, they're going to produce a '67 Plymouth GTX. And I go, what's that? He said, well, it's off the Belvedere line. And he says, you're going to like that one.
We get around to a lot of car shows, but rarely do we see a restoration done to the level of quality and authenticity as this one. If you think the car looks good in pictures, you need to see it in person. Wow. Please leave a comment and let us know what you think of this beautiful convertible, or whatever else is on your mind. These muscle cars always bring back fond memories for our viewers. We'd love to hear from you. Please give this video the thumbs up and share it with your friends.